A year and a half ago, you would have told me that most of my mornings would be spent wandering a theme park with a coffee. I'd have never believed you. I don't know how anybody comes here and videos themselves like eating and drinking, or even just talking to the camera. It's so embarrassing, but what we're gonna do. Next month marks 1 year since me and my family made the move down to the Disney bubble, and I finally feel like I can talk honestly about it. Wow, they didn't waste no time getting rid of Dinosaur. So I want to start out by saying that I was never a Disney person. I really didn't come to Disney until my honeymoon with my wife. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she's someone you would probably consider a Disney adult. A less insufferable Disney adult, but still a Disney adult no less. She's been coming here her whole life, but our entire relationship, she was trying to get me to go, and I was just like, I never really had an interest. As a kid, we really didn't do theme parks as a family much. We went to Great Adventure, Dutch Wonderland. If you're from the New York, New Jersey area, you're familiar with those parks. But we really didn't do those kind of vacations, I guess. But after coming with my wife and experiencing this place for the first time as an adult, really, it hooked me. I was in 100%. For our honeymoon, we came up with a compromise. I was a big cruise person. Well, we were big cruise people together. Those were the vacations we took a lot. And she was obviously a Disney person. So we said, all right, for the honeymoon, let's split it up. 2 weeks we took after we got married. Literally the night after we got married, we got on a plane and flew to Florida. The first half was on the Royal Caribbean, Oasis of the Seas we did, which was fantastic. We had a suite, and it was a great time. And then we checked into the Contemporary for another week. So we did a 2-week honeymoon, and that's what did it for me. It was being there. During that time, it was Thanksgiving, so it was chaotic, but I didn't know any better. Now you wouldn't catch me dead here on Thanksgiving. But at the time, it was, we were high on life. We just got married. We were at the most magical place on earth. So, it all resonated right there. It was like the perfect cocktail to, change somebody's mind about theme parks. And I'll be the first to admit that my mind was 100% changed on that trip. But once I got home after the honeymoon, I went down the rabbit hole of Disney YouTube. I watched all the vloggers. I did just the normal things you do after before either preparing to come here or after you leave. Now, I'll admit that when I was preparing to come here, I didn't do any of that research. I just kind of was took my wife's word for it. She did all the planning, the whole fast pass scheduling, the 60 days out. All that. Oh, by the way, if you're in Animal Kingdom, get yourself this stuffed pancake thing, because it's tremendous. Alright, that was disgusting. I don't even want to watch me eat, so I don't expect anyone else to. It wasn't until our 1-year anniversary that we added Universal into the mix. We came a little bit early. We got married in November. Like I said, we were here on Thanksgiving. So we came a little bit early because we wanted to do Halloween Horror Nights. And now that sent me down the Universal rabbit hole. And I said, all right, now we have to it just became spending an insane amount of money, just constantly, just traveling here. Because we needed our fix. It was literally like a drug. It's I'm sure there's 100 people out there that can relate to this. That it really is. You need to get your fix. We were counting down constantly. We had trips lined up, deposits being made, countdown to fast passes, to dining booking, all of it. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know what that's like. So then we toyed with the idea of just moving then. It's I started applying for jobs. I got hired. I got hired for third shift custodial. And we were going to move. We didn't buy a house yet. We were just married. We were still high off the honeymoon. And we were let's do it. Let's just go and do it and be happy down there. But, I had a really good job at the time. Cooler heads prevailed. And I'm happy they did. Because I think it would have been wrong in that moment to make the move. But I mean, ultimately, you have to weigh it for yourself. If this is something that you're looking for, or like you think that you need, I wouldn't ever talk anybody out of it. So you're coming here to be like, listen, dog, this guy's gonna have doom and gloom about the move. I really don't, but I'll get to that. So life progressed as, you know, life does, and we put the dream of moving to Disney on hold, and just went about our lives. 2020 came, we bought our first house. I had a career change. I moved from a job that I was with at 15 years. I actually started working for Anheuser-Busch at their brewery in Newark, and I joined my brothers. Both of my brothers worked there. They got me in. It was great. But there was always something nagging. Every once in a while, we would revisit the idea, like, maybe we should move. What do you think? Maybe. But we had at the time what was called the golden handcuffs. We had gotten in our house. We found our dream house. It was a Victorian style house, had a huge wraparound porch, in-ground pool down on the Jersey Shore. We got it at a great price and an even better interest rate. So you can imagine the 2020 interest rates. I think we were at 2.5%, which people will be like, you're crazy. Why would you leave that? Why would you leave that? And that was a majority of our family. That was a majority of our friends. But things were happening. I started, at the same time in 2020, I began doing a podcast, which I still do. It's a haunted American history. It's folklore and ghost stories and things like that, true crime. Just really as a hobby. It happened during COVID, and it started gaining a little bit of traction, but it was still just a hobby. I was still working, still doing the thing. My daughter was born in 2022. The first grandchild on my side. On my wife's side, I think she was number 4 or 5, number 5. We were happy. We had the house that we loved. We had family. We had good jobs. My wife transitioned from her full-time job into a different full-time job that she works from home now, so she was able to be home with the baby. I worked my way up. It was a union job, so I had to eat it at first. So I was on all kinds of different shifts, but then eventually I was on a steady days. Everything was good. We were good. Then the neighborhood started changing. They started knocking down some of the vacant land, opening up some sort of like industrial park. It was like warehouses it was going to be. The house next door turned into a detox center, and there was things that were lining up that we were like, maybe we should start exploring selling and making the move. But I was like, I can't really walk away from my job. And I'm sure that's a common thing that a lot of people deal with. It's like, well, I have a job, I have a life, I have a family here. Why am I gonna leave everything to move to a place because I enjoy theme parks? And that was the rationale that we had. We had the same rationale. During around this same time that this all started, I came in contact with, through my cousin, a cast member not from Disney, from the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We got into talking, we became very friendly. She was interested in doing a podcast. We started that podcast together, and same thing during this time, Anheuser-Busch started slowing down their production. I was starting to get laid off every other week. It started being a little bit of instability. And I said, you know what? This transitioning into full-time content creation was never my end goal. So once we made this connection, we were like, well, this is going to go somewhere. And literally, as soon as it started, within a few weeks after we launched, we were at San Diego Comic-Con. I was up on a stage in front of a huge audience, introducing their episode Once More with Feeling with cast members. I was meeting cast members. We came down to Florida. This was around the time of my daughter's second birthday. So it was 2024 now. And we did the Fanboy Expo in Orlando, and things were happening. It's like, all right, now at the same time, my job was offering buyouts. So it was like a perfect storm. So I said, you know what? I'm going to gamble. I'm going to take a chance on myself, and I'm going to take the buyout. But still, we weren't planning on moving yet. We took the buyout. Then things with that podcast kind of fell apart, and I was like, all right, you know what? The neighborhood's changing. That fell apart. I still have my thing that's grown into a spot where it could generate a comfortable income for me. But it's like, this is now something I have to do full time. So what we do, we sold the house. It really is just tough to sit here and talk about myself like this on a camera in a theme park. But a lot of people ask, a lot of people want to know what it was like to move and is it worth it. So has it worked out? So far, yes and no. I mean, it's working out to the point where we're very happy. That's one thing I could say. You know, for a while, it's just you're going through the motions. Life is just going through the motions. Here, you know, life's going through the motions, but we also have a happiness about us now that I don't think we had when we were living in New Jersey. And it's the happiness of just being able to provide this kind of life to our daughter and provide this kind of life to us. Two people who were really, you know, dreaming about this since we got married. And it was quite the transition. But I think so far, it's working out. Now, the whole content creation, I'm not interested in being like a theme park vlogger, really. I do enjoy sharing my thoughts about the theme parks, but I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, there's a new snack. I think that's the most cringe shit you can ever do. I see the vloggers walk around these parks, and like I said, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done, so I can't imagine being that level, because you can't be like a regular person and do that. Like that's an act, 100% an act. But I'm just not very good at acting. So here's the $1 million question. Has the move worked? Has everything worked out for you? If you mean, is all of the doubt that I had before I moved here gone? No. I'm a creator. I think a little bit of worry comes with that territory. But looking at the facts, my podcast has grown at a pace I could have never sustained with a 9-to-5 job. I finished and had my first novel published. The momentum, though, is real, and I'm doing the work that I feel that I was meant to do. Now, beyond the business, beyond the show, beyond the podcast, the real wins have been personal. Since moving here, I've probably lost close to 40 pounds just by being more active and outdoors, but more importantly, I get to see my daughter's face light up every time we step into a park. Watching her grow up here, that makes every hour of lost sleep, every what if, worth it. It's the simple reality. But it's not all sunshine. The biggest challenge is still isolation. Back in Jersey, we had deep roots. Here, it's just the three of us. We don't have a local circle of friends or family really to lean on yet. We're a trio, and we're taking on the world by ourselves, and some days you really kind of feel that distance. So do I regret it? Not even for a second. Even if everything crashed tomorrow and I had to go out and find another blue-collar job to pay the bills, I'm okay with it, because at least I know I tried. I didn't spend my whole life wondering what if. And to me, that's the biggest victory that you can have. If I could go back 1 year and talk to the version of me that was terrified to make the move and to sign the lease and to move across the country, I would simply literally just say, stop worrying. It's scary, but you're going to be fine, because we're fine. For this next year, the goal is very simple. Keep moving forward. I'm going to keep creating. Just keep throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. And the goal is really just to keep exploring this weird, wonderful place that is now home. Thank you for really being a part of this first year. And if you yourself are thinking about making the big move, whether it's down to the Orlando area for the theme parks or just really taking a new chapter in your life, take the leap. Because really, you might just find exactly what you're looking for.